Welcome back to the novel play of A Kiss for the Petals, Remembering How We Met. I remember I actually did this and I forgot why. Oh, I remember why. Busy. Anyway, I'm gonna actually pick up where we last left off. And, wow, I haven't played this in so... Good lord. It has been that long, huh? So I'm gonna pick up where we last left off, which was of last year. Don't ask why, you know why. So I'm just gonna pick up. I'm just gonna pick up where we last left off on this line. Going into character now. Excuse me. Excuse me. I want to know the real reason behind her actions. Of course you do.
今日はちゃんといるわね、ミヤさん。
I had to be sure to check every period where Mia-san was still there or not.
ミヤさん。
Excuse me. had big dinner earlier. She was reading a book again. I want to ask about my suspicions. I really wanted to, but how on earth did I broach the subject? I don't know, it sounded kind of soft there. Let's check how... Okay, that should be loud enough. I was ready to start grasping at straws. Eye catch! Since being admitted to St. Michael's, I had wandered all over campus. But upon arriving at the rear part of the central courtyard, there is scarcely any signs of life. It was the perfect location to pass the time in solitude. I looked toward the school building. The mood seemed a bit frantic, as though class was about to begin. I picked up the book I was working on and lounged on a bench. I'm a bit of a bookworm myself. That reminded me of how Risa-san, the girl seated next to me, seemed to have been stealing glances at me while I was reading. At any rate, her interest in me would wane soon enough. Not to sing my own praises, but I did seem to attract the notice of others. Even so, the attention I gained was always fleeting. If I showed no interest in return, she was bound to eventually leave me alone. The real question is, do you really want that?
チャイムが鳴ってしまいましたわ。急ぎましょう。
Last time I actually heard that I was in Japan. Or at least across the street from my house, in which I heard that same sound. On a walk.
わかっています。この声は多分うちのクラスの方かしら。こっちに向かってくるわ。面倒ね。
Reminds me of how I was in high school. I always had my nose in the book. But around friends, you know, I put the book down. However, you know, it's not bad having friends in high school. I kind of miss them. For as fast as they moved, they were decidedly not running. Proper to the very end. That was the school in a nutshell. These people were truly easygoing.
こちらの方が近道ですわよ。あれ？ミヤさん？
Oh, bother, I've been spotted. I truly hope they would just leave me be.
授業が始まりますよ。行かないのですか？
I lowered my head and spoke in a frail voice.
実はちょっと体調が優れなくて、もう少しここで風に当たっていたいんです。まあ、それでは仕方ありませんわね。先生には言っておきますね。みやさん、お大事に。ありがとうございます。
I decided when I'm actually done with this, I'll probably do another visual novel. But something a little more darker.
早く行かないと本当に遅れそうですわ。あ、待ってください。やっといなくなったわね。まったく、ここの子たちって本当にちょろいわね。
I picked up my book from where I left off. This was still a better way to kill time than sitting through those boring lectures.
ここの授業は私にとって受ける意味は全くないの。
I feel the same way about high school. The school I attended previously was what you might call a rigorous preparatory school. Ah, yes, just like good old GW. For those who don't know, the high school I attended was called George Washington Preparatory High School. Yeah, for those who know. Good old GW. And the one thing you should never do while you were at good old GW was never stand on the W. Oh, you know how they were in high school, you know. They had all these little isms about, you know, don't stand on this because you might get jumped. Don't go here because this might happen. Don't go there because this might happen, you know. All sorts of crazy little isms. Compared to that place, the school was obscenely casual. In terms of both academics and personal relationships.
それでも最初は真面目ぶろうらしくないことにしてみたわ。
Been there before. I respectfully addressed my classmate and smiled when I spoke. I even faithfully attended class. And then slowly you start to get sick of that shit. I know.
あまりの意味のなさにもう飽き飽きだわ。
High school in a nutshell. I learned everything in these textbooks quite some time ago. With unoriginal lessons and nothing to correct too emotionally. It was pure tedium. Besides,
ここに来たのだってどうせ当てつけですもの。後のことは私の好きにやらせてもらうわ。
minds grew a little hazy as they followed the words on the page.
天気がいいと眠くなってくるわ。ミヤさん、ミヤさん。誰かしら。私の名前が呼ぶのは。ねえ、起きて。もしかして本当に具合が悪いの？私のこと心配しているのかしら。ミヤさんったら。さっき体調悪いって言ったのは嘘なのに。ここの人は簡単にすぐ騙されるのね。ミヤさん、起きなさい。
I slowly opened my eyes to find Riza-san standing over me. It seemed as though I had dozed off on the bench.
やっと起きたのね。
I felt a bit of shock when I saw the expression she was giving me.
なんだかリサさん、私の好きな顔だわ。
But the fact that she was here meant class must have been over already.
どうして授業に出なかったの、ミヤさん。それは体調がちょっと。
That same expression she was making in the classroom yesterday. And she looked like she wanted to say something.
このまま納得してくれないのかしら。
That face says otherwise.
リサさん。
She looked like she couldn't decide whether she should say something or not. But she seemed like she made up her mind.
ミヤさん、ひょっとして授業をサボっているだけなんじゃないの？
And what of it?
どうなの？ミヤさん。本当に具合が悪いのよ。私、すぐに疲れてしまって。
She regarded me with an obviously suspicious look.
なんかリサさんって思っていることがすぐ顔に出ちゃうタイプなのね。
There didn't seem to be any point in lying to her further. I gave up. It was probably fine back here.
そうよ。リサさんの言う通りよ。
And that's why when I was in high school, my grades were good. You know, I maintained a steady steady grade point average, and well, I started to step out of uniform. Just put on some regular clothes for a change, instead of just me just wearing the same uniform over and over and over and over again. And the funny thing is, they never said anything about it. Because as long as I wore the colors, they don't say anything. Fortunate for me. For my friend though, oh, he was trying to do the same thing I was doing, but they do some stupid shit at my high school. It's still open to this day. Principal passed away, though.
私、授業をサボったわ。ミオさん、なんでそんなことを。そんなの決まっているでしょ。受ける意味ない授業だからサボっただけよ。
Almost felt like you're on track B. No, man, trust me, I understand that all too well.
そんな、なんでそんなことを。
I suddenly opened up to Risa-san and told her the truth. I realized it was unlike me, but for some reason, I wanted to tell her.
ミオさん、なんで、どうしてそんなことを。
Risa-san was trembling with rage. It looked like I had seriously upset her.
ついに言ってしまったわ。
There was no going back now. In class, Risa-san was always looking out for other people and was suddenly engrossed in her community duties. Seeing an honor student like that Seeing an honor student like that make a rigid expression like this.
でも、なんだか逆に見とれてしまいそうだわ。
I was never an honor student. The only thing I did was just trying to keep up with everything in class. That's all I did. You'd say, oh, you're an honor student. You graduated with a 2.5. Could have actually graduated with 3. 1 for 1 class. They just basically bullshitted me out of a 3. Or at least a 3.14, at least that much. I liked her usual expression, but there was something appealing about this one, too. I like seeing her angry. Was there something wrong with me? Yes, there is.
ちょっと、なんで笑っているのよ、ミヤさん。あ、リサさん、ここにいらっしゃったんですね。先生が呼んでいましたよ。ありがとう。今行くわ。
She glanced over her shoulder at me, looking defeated. It was too bad. I wanted to watch her angered expression just a bit longer. Risa-san departed, pulled away by our classmate. But after several steps, she looked back at me.
リサさん？ごめんなさい。急ぎましょう。
Her behavior told me her anger was still boiling just beneath the surface.
これでもう終わりね。彼女には嫌われたわね。ちょっと残念だけど。
My upstanding class representative would want nothing more to do with me after this, I was sure of it. That's the end of it.
ええ、そうよ。受ける意味のない授業
Of course it is. Or is
だ
it?
からサボっているだけよ。
The words Mia-san said to me this afternoon kept going through my head and over again. More than shock, I felt a great sense of vindication.
何よ、ただのサボりだったなんてそんなの。まったく、いくら自分がちょっとばかり頭がいいからってそんなこと許されるわけないのに。
But you know, smart people get bored, okay? There's no challenge when you feel that the classes are just too easy, too simple. You need a little challenge. I'm one of the people. I had no idea why I was getting so worked up over this, but my blood was boiling.
ミヤさんが授業を受けなくてもいいくらい天才だったから。それは悔しいわ。だけどそうじゃない。ミヤさんが最初に思っていたような性格とは違っていたから。
Possibly, yes.
そんなの私の勝手な思い込みよね。本当は今のミヤさんこそ本来のミヤさんなのかもしれないし。それじゃあなんでなの？わからないけれどもやもやするのよ。だったらもうミヤさんのことなんて放っておけばいいんじゃないかしら。
Well, too many questions, you know that?
それは。よし、こうなったら。
After giving it some serious thought, a sense of purpose was forged inside me.
ミヤさんをなんとか更生させるしかないわ。
That's real rigid right there. For me, the class representative, to have a problem child who constantly skipped class in the seat right next to her was certainly an oddity.
担任の先生にもミヤさんのことは頼まれているんだから、やっぱり私が何とかしなくちゃ。
The way things were going now, she was totally isolated from the rest of the class. She needed to attend class and interact with other people. She needed to learn to fit in.
それができるのは私だけよ。よし、明日から早速実行よ。
Are you sure about that?
ミヤさんを絶対に真人間にするわ。してみせる。明日から覚悟しなさいよ。
Again, are you sure about that?
何か今五感が走ったような。きっと気のせいね。お目当てのデパ地下スイーツも買えたことだし、車を呼んでさっさと帰りましょうか。
And so the next day, my days of pursuing Miya-san all over school began.
ミヤさん、ちょっと待ちなさい。
I cornered her in the hall as she was leaving the classroom right after our morning homeroom let out.
リサさん、一体どうしたの？
She looked puzzled.
何がどうしたのよ。どこに行くつもりかしら。だって昨日、私はあなたにちゃんと言ったわよね。
I'm going to read. Is that okay with you?
ええ、聞いたわ。あなたは授業をサボっているだけだって。だったら放っておいて。いいえ、ただのサボりだって分かったら余計に放っておくわけないでしょ。理由はどうであれ授業に出てもらうわよ、ミヤさん。
Okay.
リサさん、あなたって本当に変な人ね。変って何よ。
Well, you are. There's no denying that.
こんな私のことなんて放っておけばいいのに。クラス委員長としてそんなことはできないわ。
Are you sure it's just that?
そう。まったくおせっかいね。ええ、だから観念してね、ミヤさん。あれ？
Miya-san, who had just been standing right in front of me, was suddenly gone.
なんで？
She kept walking. always stretched in the distance. At the very end of it, I could see a shape that looked like Mia-san, but just as quickly it vanished.
まさかあっという間にあそこまで移動したっていうの？
I told you she kept walking! Mia-san was far from fragile.
まさかスポーツの万能だとか。でも負けないわ。
This was far from over.
ミヤさん、見つけたわよ。
I was sure she was aware of my presence, but she refused to look up from her book.
休み時間は短いんだから、早く教室に戻りましょうよ、ミヤさん。ミヤさんたら。聞こえているわ。そんな大声出さないで、委員長さん。だったらなんで。だってここでの勉強なんて私には時間の無駄なのよ。
I'm pretty sure if I went to a school like this and it was like so damn easy, I'm like, yeah, just give me that grade. I'm out. I really would. Like, just give me my grade. I'm out.
そんなことは。それなら本でも読んで過ごす方が有意義じゃないかしら。本なんていつでも読めるわよ。今私たちに必要なのは学園生活をきちんと送り、集団でのルールを学ぶことじゃないかしら。
No.
そう。でも学園生活ならきちんと送っているつもりよ。
It's like you don't really want to listen to any of these classes sometimes. Like, if they're too easy, like, if you're not gonna really challenge me, I'm out.
どこがよ。全然人とも関わらないし、このままじゃクラスで浮いちゃうわよ。そのようなこと私は気にしないわ。それに全然人と関わっていないわけじゃないわ。今もこうしてリサさんとコミュニケーションをとっているじゃない。
She got you there.
私？
Yes, with you.
え？だからそれで十分よ。
Got another card for my efforts. She flashed a smile just like the one when we first met, and my heart started to race. That tip expression of hers was so pretty. I could tell Mia-san was going to be trouble.
ほら、どうしたの？反撃はなしなのかしら？バカじゃないの？もう授業が始まっちゃうわ。タイムリミットね、リサさん。覚えていらっしゃい。この次は絶対授業に出させるからね。セリフだけ聞いてるとまるで弱い悪役みたいよ、リサさん。
Who's the villain here? Every time Mia-san cut class, I spent the breaks like this, looking all over her. Whenever I found her, I would try again and again to persuade her, like she was Zhuge Liang.
いつものらりくらりとかわされちゃうのよね。まったく。
She hardly ever spoke in class.
私といる時だけは妙に饒舌なんだから。この姿、クラスのみんなにも見せてあげたいな。
Pushy, aren't we? Things continued like that day after day until one day.
昨日は本当に散々な目にあったわ。
That Mia-san. The moment I started to complain to her, she started speaking in fluent English.
私だってそこそこ話せるつもりだったけど、ミヤさんは本当にペラペラなんだもん。
You know, and while I was struggling to respond, she ran off again.
悔しい。本当に悔しい。こうなったら英会話教室でも通おうかしら。
I don't see why not.
でも、委員の仕事も忙しいし、時間もやりくりだ。
That's why you gotta make time for those sort of things.
リサさん、ごきげんよう。ごきげんよう。久しぶりですわね。本当に。
The girl who greeted me was a classmate from back in middle school. We were in different classes now, so we weren't all that close. I wonder what made her approach me out of the blue like this.
リサさん、またクラス委員になったそうで、さすがですね。ありがとうございます。
I was pretty sure this girl was really prone to gossip. In fact, I got the feeling she was the source of a lot of it. I was starting to get a really bad feeling about it, so I acted like I was in a hurry.
私、今日は急いで。リサさんのクラスの綾瀬みやさん、とてもお綺麗ですわね。みやさん？
Of course, you show up. Why were we talking about Mia-san? Why were we talking about Mia-san now?
よく知ってますね。クラスが違うのに。今年の外部生の中では1年で環境整備委員になられました小田七海さんと同じくらい有名ですのよ。そうなんですか。リサさんはミヤさんととてもお親しいと聞きまして、どのような方なのか私も知りたくなったんです。
Yes.
あら、どうかなさいましたか？
No. Mia-san? Getting along? What the heck?
それって何かの間違いだと思います。
Or is there?
そうなんですか？そうです。それでは私、急いでおりますので。ちょっと、リサさん。
Where did she get that idea?
隣の席でたまに話をしてるからそう見えるのかしら。なんだかいい加減だわ。
I flat out denied it, so that should have put an end to that rumor. And more importantly,
今日こそミヤさんのサボりを止めなくちゃ。ミヤさん、今日という今日は絶対に逃がさないわよ。
there was a cat and mouse thing going on between the two.
もう何がおかしいのよ。なんだかすっかり悪役ゼリフが似合うようになっちゃったのね、リサさん。
Like Lupin and Zenigata.
もう何よそれ。自分が正義の味方にでもなったつもり？
Like Lupin the Third, yeah.
正義の味方なんてそんなめんどくさいものに興味はないわ。それより何かしらこれ。
Mia-san's gaze shifted focus to where I was tightly gripping her arm. Oh, making a move so suddenly, aren't we?
このまま教室まで連行するわ。強行策よ。言葉では叶わないと悟って今度は実力行使に出たのね。そうよ。 悪に？悪くはないけれど、いいのかしら。
She likes it rough.
What?
Using a free arm, Mia-san waved as though she was waving goodbye, as though she was saying goodbye. Saying goodbye. Wave goodbye. Across the way were our classmates. When they noticed us, they nodded and smiled.
リサさんとミヤさんですわ。あ、腕をお組みになって。とても仲がおよろしいのね。違うの。これには理由が。
Too late. I released her arm in a panic. No matter what I did, Mia-san moved out of reach.
爪が甘いわね、リサさん。しまった。
And just like that, Mia-san tried to escape.
待ちなさい、ミヤさん。授業に出なさいよ。嫌よ。もう、ミヤさんったら。
You're killing me, Larry! You're goddamn killing me!
あらあら、また追いかけっこが始まったわ。これってもう一年雪組の名物ですわね。いえ、違いますわ。一年全体の間での名物ですよ。確かにお二人はもうすっかり有名人ですものね。
It wasn't until later that I learned how everyone had come to regard us when we weren't around.
ただいま。今日もミヤさんとの追いかけっこで無駄に疲れたわ。
When I arrived back home, I noticed my mom wasn't there.
今日は早く帰ってくるって言っていたのに、どうしたのかしら。
Pulled out my phone to check it. Sure enough, there was a text from my mom.
今日も忙しくて帰れない。ごめんね。
I had so much I wanted to talk to her about today, though.
電話してみようかしら。仕事中なんだから邪魔しちゃダメよね。でも。
My mom had once been a student of St. Michael's too, just like me. I wanted to ask her how I should deal with someone like Mia-san.
忙しいママはそれどころじゃないわよね、きっと。いいわ。さっさと夕飯の支度しちゃおっと。 今日の分の勉強も終了。
I closed my notebook and stared off into space. My room was deathly quiet. Spending time by myself seemed to have become the norm lately. As if suddenly remembering, I pulled open my desk drawer. Inside was a photograph showing my divorced parents and me. Sometimes at night, when I was alone, I'd look like this, but all it ever did was make me depressed. Even say I couldn't help myself for some reason.
いつか私のこんな気持ちを話せる人が現れたらいいのにな。
I catch! Getting along famously. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a save like so. This calls for desperate measures. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just go ahead and finish this project. spend all morning on this, possibly. Pretty sure it's not gonna be a long story, considering that. Oh, look at all these. Oh yeah, look at all these. Yeah. So, yeah. Next part, we continue this. Stay tuned for more of this.